Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do drop a subscription, drop a like on the video. It massively does help me out. We've got the Burnley preview today. Very excited for it. Look, I'll be honest, Burnley is a game that we should comfortably win. It almost feels silly. No, it doesn't feel silly doing a preview. There's not a whole lot to talk about. We will talk about what Mikel Arteta said in his press conference today, including a little bit about Kylian Mbappe. And we'll talk about what could go wrong against Burnley, but what will probably go very, very right. Yomi, good to see you in the chat. You are indeed the first person in the chat. I hope you are doing. I hope you're doing very well. But yeah, look, I think Burnley away, traditionally, Burnley away would be a fixture that you'd look at and you go, "Ooh, could be a tricky one." I think Burnley this season, I look at it and I would be unbelievably shocked if we don't beat them. And I don't want that to be like stupidly overly confident. There's genuinely not a team in the league that I'd rather play right now than Burnley. Ethan, good to see you. I'm doing well, thank you. Nice surprise seeing you stream on a Friday. Yeah, I'm not normally going to be streaming on Fridays, but because I didn't stream on Tuesday, whatever day Valentine's Day was, I thought I'd do one tonight instead. Harry, Leo, VV Vlad, good to see you all. Cham, Devin, Uma, Seven, good to see you all. Arsenal 10, Burnley 0. No, look, I think it will be a comfortable win. 10-0 might be a bit of a stretch, but I do think it will be a comfortable win. We'll get into it now. This is Mikel Arteta's press conference from today, everything that he said. So on the latest team news, some of them have been progressing better than others. We have a training session again today. Some of them have done a few bits this week, and I'm positive that hopefully we're going to get a few back for tomorrow. So that's always good. He was asked if any are ruled out for tomorrow, and he said at the moment, no. Now, I don't know if that means that we don't have a single player that is unavailable tomorrow. It can't mean that because 100% Timber isn't available tomorrow. I assume that means from that little group that have all got small injuries, none of them are definitely ruled out. So that is good. He was asked about how important it is to use the squad in the right way. He said we go game by game because at the moment in certain positions in the last few weeks, we didn't really have a choice. And that's true. I mean, realistically, the starting 11 last weekend was pretty much the starting 11 he had to pick. We had to play them. We didn't really have any other players to do so. And we had the chance during some matches to take some changes and adjust the minutes and the load of certain players. We have tried to manage that in the best way because it's going to be really important. And he's bang on. And actually, we've set ourselves up now into a really good position where we're going to have so many players back. We're going to have such a big squad of fit senior players again that we can finally start rotating players and giving players breaks here and there. We're not going to have to see the likes of Ben White playing every minute of every game. Even to an extent, players like Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka, ideally, you don't want them playing. They are going to start every game if they're fit, but you don't want them playing every minute of every game. That's where it becomes a problem. He was asked if any injuries will be longer than expected, and he said no. There are no setbacks on any of the injuries, and Thomas Partey as well is progressing really well. I don't want to say too much, but he's looking very good, and he's on the field already. And someone this afternoon tweeted, I can't remember who it was, but it was someone I trust because I remember reading it, that Thomas Partey is in contention to be in the squad for Porto next week, which is decent. He was asked how hard it is to keep momentum going. He said it's the most important part of the season, and we know that every fixture is going to play a significant role in what we want to achieve. Burnley is the most important one at the moment, an extremely difficult team to beat. He's giving them a bit more credit than they deserve, to be honest, because, I mean, look at the table. They're not a difficult team to beat. Look at the results and how the teams have drawn or beaten. It's been through very small margins. Again, not really. They're extremely well coached. Obviously, he does have a friendship with Vincent Kompany, so that's probably where that's coming from. I'm trying to see if there was anything out. I mean, I don't really care about his friendship with Vincent Kompany, and I doubt you do either. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else about. This was interesting, actually. He said he was speaking about David Raya being settled into the team. He said, "What I like about David is what he, as well as what he does in goal, the things that he prevents us from. You don't even see them because they don't happen because he's already anticipated them. But yeah, obviously he had an environment that was very challenging. But that's what I love about him: the players with the courage and the character and the personality. When even if it is like this, they want to be themselves and push themselves to do that." Basically, what he said here was, if you don't see how good David Raya is, you don't know what you're looking at, which is, fair enough. He was asked about Mbappe. He said, when there is a player of that caliber, we always have to be in the conversation. But as you said, it looks like it will go a different way. Yeah, we're probably not get. He actually said something else as well that was picked up on. That was like, he was like, I'm sure Edu and the owners will have conversations. It's not happening, is it? Let's be real. It's not happening. Yeah, look, he was asked about it again on Raya preventing things that we don't see. Have a look at the game. I'm not going to tell you. I love it. I love it. And I don't think. Oh yeah, Fabio Vieira's fitness. He's very close. He's been training already for a few days with the team, so I think it's very close. He'll probably be back faster than we expected, and he's in a good place. And if there's a chance he could play against Porto, yes, there is a chance. So there you go. That's pretty much everything that's worth reading. Obviously, you can go and read. If there are any things in there that tickle your pickle, you can go and read them for yourself. But overall, the outlook is good. The outlook is good because we're heading into March probably with a full squad. A full squad to the point where actually, so I wrote this down today, right? So I wrote down, so in a Premier League matchday squad, you have 20 spots. You've got 11 starting players and 9 subs, right? So I wrote down the list of players that are probably the starting 11. So Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, when he's fit, Rice, Havertz, Ødegaard, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli. Arguably our best 11. You can pick and choose some in and out of there. You've then got on the bench, in my opinion, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko or Timber, Partey, Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, probably, Smith Rowe, Trossard, Reece Nelson is what I've gone for. But if you do that, that means in a matchday squad, you're not going to have room for Kivior and Nketiah, El Neni or Cedric. Now, El Neni and Cedric, I think we'd all agree, they're not going to be in the squad. For me, it would be Kivior and Nketiah that miss out. But that's still a tough decision to have to make week in, week out, to be leaving players out of a matchday squad. Because at that point, and if it's the same, if you go through a period of weeks without really picking up any injuries, and it's the same players that are missing out on the matchday squads, I mean, it's almost certain that you're going to have to sell them in the summer because neither Nketiah or Kivior, or if it's Reece Nelson, or I mean, I can't think of, I can't imagine that the defender that misses out on the squad won't be Kivior, which is harsh because he's been really good recently. But I just don't see it being Zinchenko or Timber. Obviously, I think Timber will take a bit longer to come back still, so there's time. But the Ramsdale media got shut down. Yeah, that happens, by the way. If you look, I love Ramsdale, don't get me wrong. But if you look across press conferences across the clubs, right, not just Arsenal, the bias and the way that narratives and questions are asked towards English players or about English players, it's crazy. It's like when Harry Maguire wasn't starting for Man United and it was just, Martinez and Varane are the starting 2 centre-backs. There's nothing more to talk about. Every single week, Ten Hag was getting asked at least one question about Harry Maguire, which is quite funny. Do you think we can? Do you think we can get it difficult against Burnley? Do you mean make it difficult? Didn't know you would be live today. Yeah, I'm not normally going to be live on Fridays, but because I took Valentine's Day off, we needed to do the preview. I thought, why not? Why not? With our future not being in our hands, do you think this is what we need to win the league instead of being on the top, then bottling it? I think it's a good position for us to be in. I do. I think having, especially when it gets towards the even deeper end, if we're still there and if Liverpool are still there, I think a lot of that media attention, obviously there will be media attention around Arsenal because it's Arsenal and Arsenal fans provide a lot of clicks and whatever. But if we're getting towards the end and it's still a 3-horse race, There's going to be loads of scrutiny and talk about the fact that it's Klopp's final chance. Can they win the Premier League for Klopp for the last time? And I think that'll take the heat off Arsenal. So I don't mind. It's like horse racing. I don't mind it if you're cantering along in second. You're not out in front. No one's eyeing you down. I think it's good. Do you listen to Arscast or the Arsenal Vision podcast? Would be great to see you as a guest on there. Occasionally. I'll be honest, I just don't have time. I put things on in the background sometimes, but half the time I feel like I just don't really listen to them when they're on in the background. But yeah, no, look. So overall, we're going to have a very, very strong squad against Burnley. I mean, even if no one from last week is back, I still think we'll be fine. But it seems like people are going to be back. And yeah, I just think with Burnley, right, they can sit deep, but they're not very good at it. So the one thing that teams that have done well against us this season have done well if they've sat really deep and they've been really well structured and we've struggled to break it down. And then when we have inevitably broken it down, we've missed our chances. Realistically, that's how other than the Fulham game where I just thought we were poor, that's how we've dropped points. Burnley aren't very good at doing that. Under Vincent Kompany, I mean, they used to be amazing at it. They're not very good at it. So they're not going to be able to do that. And if they do that, I don't even care because all we need to do is get corners. James Trafford, the Burnley goalkeeper, is probably the weakest goalkeeper in the league under crosses and corners. It's been shown time and time again that he gets bullied on corners. And we are the best team in the league at bullying goalkeepers on corners and scoring from set pieces. So even if they are somehow able to restrict us, I think we'll score from corners. I genuinely, if I was going to put money on a goal scorer, it would be Gabriel ahead of Saka. I see that being very, very good for us. And then also on top of that, you've got you've just got, the fact that we should be able to play through them relatively easily. So the only thing they've got, in my opinion, is Koleosho on the break, who is one of the fastest players I think I've ever seen live when they came to the Emirates. But other than that, I know they've been scoring here and there with that. Well, Datro Fofana's looked all right for them since he went on loan from Chelsea, but I'm not too bothered. I wanted to talk about this, actually. Yeah, Optical Dreams. Thoughts on Alisson pulling his hamstring again? I saw that just before I went live. In fact, actually, let me pull up Twitter and see if there's been any more news, because it was literally happening as I went live. Actually, it was a bit before that. Yeah, huge blow for Liverpool as Alisson Becker has sustained a hamstring injury. Unknown how long that'll be for, but I tell you what, I was already... Isn't Koleosho injured? Oh, he might be, actually. Is Koleosho injured? If Koleosho's injured, then it's even better news. Actually, yeah, maybe I did see that Koleosho was out for the rest of the season, or was that someone else? I get confused. Let me have a look. But Alisson being out, that's huge. Now, we don't know how long it's going to be for, but I was already looking at Brentford away lunchtime kickoff, because we're all right. Let's be real. We're at that point now where you're looking at Liverpool's fixtures going, where are they going to drop points? You're looking at City's fixtures going, where are they going to drop points? And in City's case, you look at their fixtures and you go, probably nowhere, apart from hopefully when we go to the Etihad. But with Liverpool, Brentford away, lunchtime kickoff, Liverpool haven't been playing that well lately. If truth is told, they've not been playing that well. Even against Burnley, they weren't that good. Brentford, on the other hand, are on the up. They might not have been picking up the wins, but I think their performances recently, since Tony came back, have been much better. Now you throw in, they've got no Trent, no Szoboszlai, still I don't think Mohamed Salah, and no Alisson. And Brentford, I think, are the second best team behind us at scoring from set pieces and corners, and Kelleher is really weak under them. So, listen, my hopes are up. I can't lie to you. My hopes are up. Yeah, Koleosho is injured, so yeah, I'm confident. Salah is back for them. Is he? I saw he was back in training, but I saw quite... I was speaking to a Liverpool fan on a stream yesterday, and they didn't seem confident he was going to play. Spurs will probably drop points, considering Pedro Porro and Udogie are both gone for a few weeks. I saw that. I tell you what, against Wolves as well, playing the kamikaze high line. This is interesting, actually, because I always say the kamikaze high line that they play. The reality, actually, is that we play a high line than they do. Like, our defensive line is higher than Tottenham's, but it doesn't look anywhere near as risky or kamikaze as theirs does. But that high line that they're going to play with presumably Ben Davies at left back against Pedro Neto, that screams goals. That time of the season when we start supporting every team playing against Liverpool and City, I know. It's not often I'll be supporting Chelsea, but this weekend I will be supporting Chelsea. I'm on the Blues. Thoughts on Pompey? I don't know. I have like a weird little soft spot for Portsmouth just because randomly, when I was a kid, I think my dad took me and my brother to Portsmouth. I can't remember. I think we went on a boat to like the Isle of whatever it is or something. Anyway, we went on like a day trip to Portsmouth, and then in the evening we went to a Portsmouth game, and that was back when Portsmouth were actually like decent, and the atmosphere was unreal. So I've had this weird little sort of soft spot for Portsmouth since then. And then I got one of those mystery shirt boxes, and it had a Portsmouth top in it. So I've been seen wearing a Portsmouth top before as well. So I don't know how they're doing at the moment. To be fair, what are they now in? Still in League One. I'll have a look after. It's the way they use the high line, always trying to play offside, is going to cause muscle injuries. Yeah, again, I saw another thing about that. The number of defensive sprints that Spurs have made compared to any other team, even Aston Villa, the number that Spurs have made is way more. And the fact is, like, sprints cause injuries. Sprints cause hamstring injuries. Sprints cause muscle injuries. They just do. Like if you look at any metric, the more sprints a player does, the more injuries they're likely to pick up. First in League One. Oh, tidy. Love that. On the way up. It's about time they were back in the Championship, to be fair. It is about time. Do you think Arsenal should sign Nico Williams in the summer? It's a good option. Like I said, I've been saying for a while, I'll be disappointed if we come out of the summer window without a winger. Basically, without someone that is legitimate, bona fide competition and backup for Bukayo Saka. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Reece Nelson, but I think it's clear that A, Mikel Arteta doesn't rate Reece Nelson highly enough, and B, he's probably going to want to leave the club. I know he signed a new contract, but beyond that, he's probably going to want to leave the club. $5 super chat from Anu. Thank you very, very much. Don't want us being complacent tomorrow, thinking it'll be easy. Need us to go and get a comfortable and professional win. You are spot on. I think it's fine for me to sit here saying it should be an easy win, and I'm probably quite complacent about it. The players, this is their job. They are professionals, and they should not be complacent. And actually, I want them to go out there and not just think about, getting the win and going home. I do want them to go out there, and I want them to be thinking, we're going to score another 4 or 5. We're going to back up. We had the West Ham result that backed up the Liverpool result. We're going to back it up again. We're going to go and score another 4 or 5. Because look, I tell you what, in a 3-horse race, it can come down to goal difference. Don't rule out that this season might, end up coming down to goal difference. It genuinely could. So, yeah, they need to be switched on, and it would be easy. We've got a Champions League game midweek, the first time for a lot of them playing knockout Champions League football. It would be easy for them to be thinking ahead a little bit and to not be focused on tomorrow. But you've got to get the job done. You have to get the job done. Xavi Simons is our solution. Yeah, I liked watching him. I liked watching him the other night. I thought he looked good. I'll be disappointed if we sign Tony or Xerxes, who's just been linked with us today. Yeah, the Xerxes links have been there for a little while. I think, the worrying thing really is that Osimhen might be going to PSG, which would be frustrating. But again, if PSG want him, I guarantee they can offer more money than we can. And at that point, what can you do? Thoughts on the Xerxes rumours that came out today from Italian media? I'll be honest, I don't trust Italian media at all. At all. Like, consistently, don't get me wrong, there are bad outlets in England and there are bad outlets in Spain and all the rest of it. Consistently, Italian outlets, when it comes to transfer news, are useless and pointless, and they're all just paid for. I'm like, they're all just paid for by agents and players, and yeah, they're just not worth paying attention to. But the Xerxes links were kind of already there anyway. I think Gyökeres or Jimenez from Feyenoord would be the best options if Osimhen is off to PSG. Jimenez, I still think, is a little bit raw. He's one of those ones that, if we already had the Osimhen, I would be like, Jimenez would be great. But right now, I don't think we can go and get someone that needs time. That's the big thing. I don't think we can go and get someone that needs time. And so even Gyökeres, who would be my preference out of those two, I still think it's not optimal. It's not like just realistically, these names, if you're talking about going for the Premier League and the Champions League consistently, right now, Xerxes, Jimenez, Gyökeres, even Ivan Toney, I'd argue potentially, they're not that guy. They're not that big level. Like, they're not Haaland. And the striker market isn't brilliant. That's the reality. The striker market isn't brilliant, but it's tough. Dimarzio claiming Rice was close to Man United. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Dimarzio hasn't been relevant or useful in years. Absolutely years. Surely Leao and Osimhen have higher ambitions than going to the French league. Yeah, but money talks. Money talks. And if you go to PSG and Mbappe's gone, like, realistically, everyone's gone. You can go to PSG now and be that guy. You can be that. If you come to Arsenal, if you're either of them and you come to Arsenal, you're not that guy because we've got Saka and we've got Rice. If you go to PSG now, don't get me wrong, they've got some incredibly good players and some really exciting young players, but you're that guy if you go to there now. Fab just posted about the Alisson hamstring injury. That's a big blow to them. Did he give a timeline though? The one thing I'm trying to figure out is how, because I've seen it's a hamstring injury, but not really seen anything about the duration that he's going to be out for. Because like a hamstring injury could put you out for. Okay, so Alisson has suffered another hamstring injury. Understand Alisson will undergo tests on Saturday to clarify how serious the injury is / how long he'll be out for. Brazilian goalkeeper expected to miss the Brentford game. So we don't know yet. We don't know how long that's going to be for. But listen, even if it's just the Brentford game, it's it's not good for them. It's not good for them. Van der Ven was out for 2 months, I think. Yeah, Van der Ven was out for 2 months. Kevin De Bruyne was out for what, 6 months? It can vary. It can vary. The worrying thing for Alisson, I'd assume, is the fact that he did his hamstring recently, right? He did his hamstring. I can't remember exactly when it was. Maybe like late November, early December, and he missed a couple of games then. If it's the same hamstring, that starts becoming a problem. How do you think Arsenal's season will end? I think it's going to end strong. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to win a trophy because of the competition we're against, but I think relative to last season, we're going to have a strong end. We look fresh, we look confident. We figured out how to play against these low blocks. With Ødegaard dropping deeper, he's really nailing that role right now. We've got players coming back from injuries. We're going to have a fit squad. I am confident and I am optimistic at the moment, which is good, considering, literally like just over a month ago, the position we were in, where we'd lost to West Ham, we'd lost to Fulham, we'd gone out of the Cup to Liverpool. To be back where we are now, I think, happy days. How much do you think we'll get from outgoings in the summer? Not a huge amount, honestly. if Kieran Tierney goes, he's got 2 years left on his contract, injury prone, struggling for game time at Sociedad. You know, you're looking at 20 million if you're lucky for him. Eddie Nketiah, I think you do well to get 25 million, assuming that he doesn't play much between now and the end of the season. Ramsdale, I think you should be getting 40, 50 million for. Who else would we sell? Potentially Kivior. It's possible that we sell Kivior. If we wipe our face and get the money back we paid for him, that's another 25 million. So you're looking at probably, we can probably go and raise 120, in the region of 120 million, which is big because that's the one thing in terms of where we've come unstuck and been limited by FFP. It's because we've really not, other than Balogun last summer, we've really not sold. We sold Xhaka for a little bit, but really over the last however many years, we've not made money selling players at all. So ESR might leave as well. I don't think he will. I think the way that Arteta consistently talks about Smith Rowe, I just don't think he's going anywhere. And I don't think he needs to. I think if Eddie goes, and I think if Reece Nelson potentially goes, not that, I don't think we'll see Smith Rowe off the wing again in the future, but I don't think he needs to go. With, tied in with the fact that Partey is going to go probably. Again, Partey, what can you get for Thomas Partey? 20 at a push. I think, again, injury prone, aging. Obviously has, that thing hanging over his head. StreamYard is mugging you off. Laggy. Oh, right. It shouldn't be laggy. That's annoying. I apologize if the stream is laggy. Why sell Kivior? Because there's been rumors that teams in Serie A might want him. No, I don't know why it's laggy. It shouldn't be laggy. We have this on my end, it's completely fine. So I don't know why it's lagging. That's annoying though. I apologize for that. Why sell Kivior? There's just been general rumors that he might go back to Serie A, and the reality is, if we want to buy another defender, we'll have to sell one of the defenders we've got. If we want to go out and get Hato or someone like that, then it's not laggy on my end. In that case, if it's lagging for some people, that's a YouTube thing then. Because if it's not lagging for everyone, that means it's not me. It's not me. For once, it's not me. And the stream, look, touch wood, the stream hasn't crashed since we moved. Which makes zero sense. Do you know how actually frustrating? Like, I'm happy that the streams have stopped crashing, but do you know how annoying it is that I have done nothing? I have done all I have done is move the PC. If anything, I'd have thought that would cause more problems, like undoing the whole setup and resetting it up at the new place. But for whatever reason, we're now in a good place. We're now in a good place. Are you streaming tomorrow's game? I will be. I'll be doing a watch along for tomorrow's game, and just keep a mental note of this. On Sunday, I'm doing a stream for the United Luton game, and it is going to be on a brand new platform. It's not going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on a brand new platform. I'll talk about it in the watch along tomorrow. It's going to be on a brand new streaming platform, which I'm very excited to be involved with. The streaming platform basically has a vision of building better communities. It's not Twitch or Kick. It's literally, it's a brand. I am going to be the first streamer on the platform. Like, it is brand new. And it's exciting. The plan is basically to build a better platform for watch-alongs, for football watch-alongs, because Twitch, YouTube, all the rest of them, they were never designed in mind of having watch-alongs. Are you the test dummy? I am the test dummy. So I'll have a link for that in the YouTube description of the stream tomorrow. But if you want to join in on that on Sunday and see what it's all about, then I'd love to have you there. That would be fantastic. What's the latest update for Mbappe and any chance we are buying him? Mikel Arteta said in his press conference today, he didn't rule it out. He said that if you want to be the best, you have to be able to bring in the best players. And obviously Mbappe is one of them. He said it's up to Edu and the owners to deal with that. He doesn't get involved until the end. But realistically, he's waffling because Mbappe is not coming to Arsenal. Is it with the other people that the Luton game you're streaming? Yeah, so the Luton Manchester United game on Sunday, 4:30, I'll be streaming on the other platform. I'll talk more about it tomorrow because I'll have a link set up for it and stuff by that point. But yeah, I'm very excited. It's going to be long-term, that platform, for building communities around like football and watch-alongs, and the stuff that we'll be able to do, engaging with the audience and stuff like that. Like it's very early stages at the moment, but long-term, very, very excited for it. Players to play for both Burnley and Arsenal. Players to play for both Burnley and Arsenal. Good question. Good question. I can't think of a single one off the top of my head. The thing is, traditionally, Burnley and Arsenal could not have been more different teams. I will come back to that. Anu has given another $5 super chat. Absolute legend. Honestly, I'm incredibly grateful for your generosity. I read that the naming rights for the stadium ends in a few years for the Emirates. What new name? Rename the stadium? Well, realistically, Emirates may continue to be the name sponsor. Did Ian Wright play for Burnley? Never even knew that. I knew he played for Palace, and then I didn't know he played for Burnley. But yeah, look, ideally, Emirates renew it. If we end up with a changed name, Ian Wright and Lee Dixon, there you go. Lee Dixon's more of a Burnley player, to be fair. Sorry for the typo, no worries. But yeah, ideally, Emirates keep it and they pay more money for it. If it ends up being given a rename, I just don't think the name will change. In the sense that the name might change. To all of us, it's always going to be known as the Emirates, right? That's the advantage of being Emirates. If it's your name on it when it's built and people know that name, it just ends up being that forever, I think. Ian Wright at the end of his playing career. There you go. I just can't even picture him. I cannot picture him in a Burnley shirt. The Arsene Wenger Stadium. Do you know what? I was thinking about this relatively recently. I'm surprised that we've not named either of the two side stands yet. The Wenger stand. I'm genuinely surprised that like the West stand or the East stand isn't called the Wenger stand. Obviously, we've got Clock End and North Bank, but I am surprised we don't have the Arsene Wenger stand. It would be a fitting tribute. What's your lineup for the game tomorrow? So for me, apparently Andy Cole also played for Arsenal and Burnley. There you go. My lineup for the game tomorrow would be Raya in goal. Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Rice, Havertz, Ødegaard, Saka, Trossard, Martinelli. I think Trossard stays in. Even if Gabriel Jesus is fit. I'd rather actually have Gabriel Jesus in the Champions League game because he's got more of that experience. Play Trossard again. No problem playing Trossard again. Can we see your FPL team? Not today. I'll make sure that in a future stream I get that up. I just can't be bothered trying to log into it on stream because I can't remember what the password is. If I can read it out, I'll read it off my phone. I can't be bothered bringing it up because I know I won't remember the password. So my team for this week, Raya in goal. I've got Pinnock, Trippier and Saliba as a back three. I've then got Brennan Johnson, Kevin De Bruyne, Saka, James Ward-Prowse, Phil Foden, and then Højlund and Haaland up front. And Haaland is captained because they've got a double game week. No, Guess the Gunner is coming up in a minute. What? I had no idea Andy Cole ever played for Arsenal. And then I've got João Pedro and Van Hecker on the bench. Put Gabriel instead of Saliba. I should put Gabriel instead of Saliba, honestly. I should. I should do that. Anyway. I triple captain KDB. They do have a double game week. The thing is, though, double game week with Champions League knocking about, is Kevin De Bruyne going to start both games? That's the reason that I'm not so keen on that one. Yeah, Andy Cole came through the Arsenal Academy. That's why, and then he played for Burnley way later in his career. But that's there you go. Andy Cole came through the Arsenal Academy, which, to be fair, I don't think I knew. I don't think I knew that. And yeah, he went on loan from the academy to Fulham, played one game, and then went to Bristol City. We sold him to Bristol City for €1.5 million in 1992. So there you go. Anyway, on that note, that is very much Guess the Goonery. So it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it correct gets the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards. Clue 1. They spent 10 years at Arsenal. They spent 10 years at Arsenal. Clue number 2. They got 28 goals and 23 assists in 246 games. 28 goals and 23 assists in 246 games. Clue number 3. They won the Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund in 2002. They won the Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund in 2002. Clue number 4. They scored 23 times for the Czech Republic. That's going to be a big clue. They scored 23 times for the Czech Republic. And clue number 5, they wore the number 7 for Arsenal. They wore the number 7. So spent 10 years at Arsenal, scoring 28 goals and 23 assists in 246 games. They won the Bundesliga with Dortmund in 2002, scored 23 times for the Czech Republic. That's the giveaway for me. And they wore the number 7 for Arsenal. And of course, lots of you have got it now. But who got it first? It was, of course, VV Vlad. VV Vlad got it first. Lots of you were guessing Ramsey and no, that wasn't a guess for Tomiyasu. Cazorla was up there, but no, it was Thomas Rosicki. So VV Vlad was first. Thomas Willis was second. SS9 was third. Brendan Kennelly was fourth, and Wayne 92 was fifth. One of my favorite players of all time. Shame about the injuries. I know. He was one of mine as well. In terms of a player that I just loved watching, Thomas Rosicki was well up there. And you think the fact that he was at Arsenal for a decade, he was at Arsenal for 10 years, and he only played 246 games. Because he was unfortunately riddled a little bit by injuries. Alisson injured, maybe go ahead of Liverpool tomorrow. It's possible. Look, Brentford away is tough. Early kickoff. You know, there's a lot of things. If Liverpool come out of tomorrow with a win, actually, I think it'll be a big morale boost for them. I always remember that cracking goal he got in the North London derby. Oh, it's wonderful. Wonderful. Why can't we break the bank for Mbappe? He has a big profile and his fans will follow him to Arsenal, and we would be able to raise some money towards wages and selling some players. There is a bit of a... Yeah, you're right. I wish we could break the bank for him. There's a bit of a kind of myth, almost. Francisco Oliveira, no worries. It is good to see you back. That's the first time you've been back. And I appreciate it. No, there's a bit of a myth, right? That when you bring in a player and they sell loads of shirts, that you make lots of money. And indirectly, you might, because it might mean that your shirt sponsorship can go up in the future. But Arsenal barely take any of the money from shirt sales. The majority, the way it works, right, is Adidas pay a load of money to be Arsenal's shirt provider. Then when they sell the shirts, they get most of the money back. so they get most of the money from shirt sales. So it's a bit of a myth that you can kind of. Don't get me wrong. There are other commercial ways that bringing in an Mbappe can raise you money, but yeah. If you could relive any Arsenal game, what would it be and why? If you could relive any Arsenal game, it's weird, right? Because there are some games from when I was way younger. We're talking when I was like 6, 7 years old. Because I was 8 when we went invincible. And so I look back and I'm like, there are games from them that I've watched back. But I feel like I wouldn't be reliving them because I never lived them in the first place, if that makes sense. Like as much as I was an Arsenal fan from the age of like 4, even as an 8-year-old, like I'd watch it on Match of the Day. I didn't, so I can't relive that. So in terms of actual games that I've properly lived, I mean the 2014 FA Cup final was good. I don't know. Do you know what? That Leicester game, you know when we beat Leicester with that Danny Welbeck header, that was a limbs game. That was potentially that one. But realistically, yeah. See again against Barca at the Emirates, but again, I feel like I was just quite young. Like I don't like compared to games now that I've been at as an adult that I have like I can remember like the feeling and the emotion. Like I feel like back then. I mean, the Champions League final was legitimately the only time I've ever cried at a football match. So I don't want to relive that one, really. Bournemouth last season. Yeah, like Bournemouth last season, I don't think that's number one, but like that feeling in the stadium of just absolute bedlam, like hugging random people. It was carnage. Things like that. I'm like, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I just don't have that memory of that feeling. Do you think we can win the Champions League? We can. Whether or not we will is another question, but it for me it depends, right? I think one big thing, if we can avoid Real Madrid and City until the final, that's a massive advantage. Because I feel like if we had to beat either Real Madrid or City over 2 legs before the final, and we had to go away, I feel like that would be tough. Put us in a final, we can beat anyone. Are you doing Guess the Non-Gooner? I am. I'm just about to do Guess the Non-Gooner. I love the Leicester one as well. Welbeck just came back from a long-term injury. Yeah. And I genuinely felt like we were going to win the league at that point as well. Worst Arsenal game you've ever watched? I think it was that Watford game. That Watford game where we conceded like 30 shots on whatever it was, that ridiculous record of shots conceded against Watford. I remember watching it being like, this isn't my club. This isn't my club. When are the later streams coming? Very, very soon. Hopefully next Monday. I feel like I said that last week because I am just shit at doing things and getting organised. 8-2 against United. I didn't watch that game. I was on a plane or about to board a plane, and I got off the plane, and we'd lost 8-2, and I never ever watched the game. Obviously, I've seen bits of highlights because they were unavoidable, but that is I never really watched that game, and I never will because why would I put myself through that? The Birmingham League Cup final. Oh, when Obafemi Martin scored, that was tough. But again, I was young. Baku was horrifying. Olympiacos, the final minute when Aubameyang missed against Olympiacos, that was tough. I cried when Brazil lost to Germany. I'm a Neymar fan. I quite enjoyed that game. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. This is where I give you the career path of a player that has never played for Arsenal, and you have to try and guess who that player is. I feel like today's is quite an easy one, actually, but we'll go for it anyway. So today's Guess the Non-Gooner, fingers on your keyboards, started their career at Dynamo Kiev. They went to AC Milan. They went to Chelsea. They went back on loan to AC Milan. And then they moved back to Dynamo Kiev. So Dynamo Kiev, AC Milan, Chelsea, on loan to AC Milan, and then to Dynamo Kiev. Not Zinny, not Zinchenko. And he's only gone and done the dirty double again. It's VV Vlad. It was Andrei Shevchenko. That was quite an easy one. I mean, yeah, once you'd whittled down that it was a Ukrainian, it was pretty easy. Congratulations, though, to VV Vlad. The dirty double has been done. Yomi came second. Ethan Udall came third. Vilgot came fourth. And Brendan Kennelly came fifth. So there you go. Congratulations. Thoughts on Saka Foden comparisons? Just unnecessary. But one thing I will say is this. Last season, no one was comparing Saka to Foden. When Saka was quite clearly levels above Phil Foden last season, no one was comparing them. It's only ever when Foden is playing really well that suddenly the comparisons come out again. For me, that says it all. What's the best game you've ever watched as a neutral? What's the best game I've ever watched as a neutral? Good question. Good question. Do you know what? You know when, you know the... no, maybe not. I really, really enjoy Spurs against Chelsea at the moment. Maybe not... Yeah, no, even this season it was good. But you know the Spurs against Chelsea game where it was just an absolute bloodbath? That game I enjoyed. Did you see Philogene goal for Hull City? I did. The Rabona. Unbelievable. AC Milan, Liverpool, UCL final. Yeah. Barcelona against PSG. That comeback was pretty impressive. The World Cup final for me, that was too good. I don't know. I just don't know what it was about the World Cup final, but I just... Like, don't get me wrong, it was very, very, very good, but it just didn't... I don't know. It's hard to explain. Yeah, AC Milan, Liverpool, UCL finals, very much up there. But again, that was 2005. So, like, I wasn't even 10. So it's Liverpool against Barca. I tell you what, when Origi scored that goal from that corner from Trent, that was mental. That was mental. The Spurs-Chelsea game this year was complete carnage throughout the game. Yeah, that's what... Like, right now, Spurs against Chelsea is one of the best fixtures there is. Genuinely is. Is it true Real Madrid are going for Haaland as well? Yeah, I've seen a couple of things. Real Madrid want Haaland and they want Haaland and Mbappe. At that point, by the way, one of Mbappe and Vinny is going to have to play off the right, which is, for neither of them, their favourite position. So I don't know how you're going to convince one of Mbappe and Vinny Jr. to play in a position they don't particularly like. But I don't think it will happen. I just don't think you can afford... I don't think you can afford it. Battle at the Bridge, insanely... Yeah, Battle at the Bridge. Yeah, it was a hell of a game. Spurs-Chelsea is way more of a rivalry than Arsenal-Chelsea. Yeah, it is. I don't know if that's true. You don't know if what's true, Francisco? You don't know if what's true. But yeah, let me know just before we wrap up the stream. Score predictions for tomorrow. Arsenal-Burnley at Turf Moor. What are your score predictions? I'm going for 5-0. 5-0. Morpheus has also gone 5-0. Jay's gone for 4-0. Yomi's had a bad dream. I don't know what to tell you, Yomi, but, you know, hopefully your dream doesn't come true. VV Vlad's also gone 5-0. Ethan Udall's gone 3-1. Devin's gone 5-2, conceding 2 to Burnley. I hope not. Thomas Willis 4-1. Mevan's gone 3-0. Blake's gone 3-0. Francisco's gone 2-0. A Saka hat-trick. Oh, I would love a Saka hat-trick. I would love it. What are your thoughts on the FA Cup going to TNT? Just more proof of where the FA Cup's at. It's not what it used to be. It's another money-making scheme for them. The only way it can possibly be good is if the smaller clubs, the lower league clubs, make more money out of it. But I still don't think it should be behind a paywall. It's just not right. It's not right. But yeah, I'm going 5-0. So far, no one has predicted an Arsenal loss. So that's good. Man City-Chelsea prediction. 3-2 to Man City. I think Chelsea can score goals in that game. The way that Man City set up, Chelsea do have quality on the break. I'm going to go 3-2 to Man City, and we're all going to be really annoyed by it. It's going to be one of those games where, we're going to be really annoyed because we'll think City should have dropped points and they won't. The other side of it is that City could absolutely batter Chelsea, but I'm going to hope that Poch sets up sensibly. And you never know. You never know what could happen. I hope Chelsea win it. Yeah, we're all going to be supporting Chelsea. I hope Nwaneri plays. Yeah, it'd be good to see him on the bench again, to be fair. It would be good to see him on the bench again. How many players do you think we will have back from injury tomorrow? Tomiyasu, I think, will definitely be back. Jesus, I think, will probably be back. Smith Rowe, I think, will probably be back. Probably those three. Maybe Zinchenko as well. I don't know. It already is behind a paywall for Americans. Yeah, and I understand that. But first of all, the paywall is far lower. The paywall is far lower. And secondly, it's the English FA Cup. It's a traditional, so there are things, by the way, that the government can literally insist are free to air on UK TV. So the Olympics has to be free to watch in the UK. The World Cup has to be free to watch in the UK. I think the FA Cup should be as well, but it's not. And we'll wrap it up on a nice little comment from John Smith, who says, do you have fetal alcohol syndrome? And I will leave that one up to the viewers to decide. Havertz or Trossard up front? I would go Trossard with Havertz in midfield. Anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a good stream. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. If you've not already clicked like, please do so. I'll be back 3 p.m. Well, no, I'll be back at about... I'll go live at about 2:45 tomorrow ahead of the Arsenal game. We will be there. I hope you have a fantastic weekend outside of that. And hopefully, we're at least in the top 2 by the end of the weekend. Good evening. Good night.